I feel like I've been on a roll lately, proposing a number of train lines that seem mostly well liked. But the northern portion of the line I'm proposing in this video may be a bit controversial. I'll propose it anyway, though, and explain why it may be controversial. The southern terminus of my proposed line would be at the South Coast metro area of Orange County, at Bristol Street and Anton Boulevard. It is a stop right in the middle of the South Coast metro area, with a lot of jobs. This is probably one of the less controversial stops on this route. If anything, it would be controversial if I left a major employment center like South Coast Metro completely out of my rail plans for the area. The following stops, going north, would all be on Bristol Street, at MacArthur Boulevard, Warner Avenue, Edinger Avenue, and McFadden Avenue. All four stops offer bus connections, and all four stops serve a densely populated part of Orange County. Almost all of the census tracts in this area have over 10,000 people per square mile. And there are even census tracts in this area with over 20,000 people per square mile. The following stop would be at Santa Ana Boulevard. This is the closest this line gets to downtown Santa Ana. Furthermore, this stop would connect with the OC streetcar. There would then be a stop at 17th Street. The real notable thing about this stop is that it is right by Santa Ana College, a large community college. I expect this stop to get a ton of ridership. The train would then get off Bristol Street, taking a trip down memory lane before heading onto the city drive. And along there, I'd propose a stop by the outlets at Orange. There are a lot of jobs near the proposed stop as well. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention UCI Health, given that medical facilities are ridership drivers for public transit. The train would then meander off of the city drive, which turns into State College Boulevard before meandering off. That meandering is to get to the next stop, which is the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center, or ARCTIC. ARCTIC offers transit connections, notably with Metrolink and Amtrak. Oh, and there'd be a connection to the previous train line I proposed for Orange County. The stop is also near the stadiums for Anaheim's baseball and hockey teams. The train line would then meander back onto State College Boulevard. And then we get to three proposed stops that go kind of in the same category. Places that offer bus connections, as well as connections to areas of higher population density. Those stops would be at Ball Road, Lincoln Avenue, and La Palma Avenue. These stops are by census tracts with 10,000 people per square mile to 15,000 people per square mile. The following two stops, continuing to go north on State College Boulevard, would be at Orangethorpe Avenue and Commonwealth Avenue. The primary purpose of both stops is to offer bus connections, as the Orangethorpe stop in particular is in an area where the population density is rather unimpressive. There would then be a stop at Cal State Fullerton. The Cal State Fullerton stop would be on the part of State College Boulevard near the Student Union Building. The school has about 41,000 undergraduate students. And it is a commuter school too, meaning that there is a lot of ridership potential associated with this stop. The next stop would be at Brea Mall. In that area is a certain urbanist YouTuber's favorite dining establishment, the Cheesecake Factory. Now, at this point in the video, you might be thinking, what's so controversial about this line? Aside from it going against the generalized pessimism about trains whenever I propose a train line for Orange County. I mean, I count several major ridership drivers this line would serve, all of which should be served by a train line of some sort, in my opinion. The bit that's controversial is after the Brea Mall stop, as this line would go into Los Angeles County, and well into Los Angeles County. To head into LA County, I'd take this route to the 57 freeway, and the route would follow the 57 freeway for a time. The train would then eventually get off of the 57 freeway and head along Brea Canyon Road. The first LA County stop would be at the Industry Metrolink station, serving the city of Industry with all its, well, industry. As you might guess by the name of the city, there are some jobs around this stop. The line would then meander onto Valley Boulevard, and then Grand Avenue. And then the train line would head onto Temple Avenue. And soon after getting on Temple Avenue, there'd be a stop for Mount San Antonio College. It's a school with tens of thousands of students, before you even talk about faculty and staff. Given that this is literally a commuter school by nature, and a public commuter school at that, this could be a stop with extremely significant ridership. Staying on the theme of higher ed, the following stop would be at Cal Poly Pomona, a school of about 25,000 undergraduate students. Once again, ridership potential at this stop is absolutely massive. The train would then continue going down Temple Avenue all the way to existing trackage, and then follows the trackage all the way to the Pomona Downtown Metrolink station. This would serve the downtown area of a city with around 150,000 people, and connect with the Metrolink station there as well. Right by this stop, the train would make a turn north onto Gary Avenue. Along Gary Avenue, there would be a stop at the Pomona Valley Hospital Medical Center. The hospital has over 4,000 employees, not to mention patients and families of patients there. The last stop would be at the Pomona North Station to connect with the current terminus of the LA Metro A line, as well as the San Bernardino line for Metrolink. It's not a perfect transfer, as the positioning of the A line part of this station is such that it's a 5-minute walk from the part of the station for this line. But I would still say that it's an important connection with two important train lines. And that is my proposed line for serving the South Coast Metro, Cal State Fullerton, and even a part of LA County. Okay, now to talking about this proposed line in more detail. The relatively uncontroversial part of this line is in Orange County. I say that because, based on OCTA ridership data I found from about a decade ago, the bus route that would cover much of my proposed train route had over 11,000 daily boardings on weekdays. For context, this is daily ridership competitive with transit corridors that are being considered for upgrades to rail transit, both in the LA area and beyond. One of the stops on my proposed route is by the busiest stop on OCTA's entire system. That stop was the southbound bus stop at Bristol Street and 17th Street. What is by that intersection? Santa Ana College. It turns out that if you produce solid mass transit options by a commuter school, students will take advantage of the mass transit option or options. And, speaking of 17th Street, a lot of the biggest bus ridership on Bristol Street is from 17th Street to the South Coast Metro part of Santa Ana. So, I would expect my proposed train line to have particularly high ridership on that stretch. One area that hasn't gotten the highest ridership on the proposed line's corridor, at least based off of OCTA 2016 data, is the area around Cal State Fullerton. But maybe that's because the buses by there aren't the most frequent. If, in contrast, a frequent rail line were provided, it might produce strong ridership at a Cal State Fullerton rail stop. The part of this proposed line that I expect to be controversial is the part extending into LA County. Just the thought of OCTA having an extensive rail line would be a lot to grasp. But OCTA having a rail line going into LA County would be something else. I expect the critiques of this portion of the line to fall into one of two categories. Critiques saying that it's nonsense to have a line heading south to north from Orange County to the eastern part of LA County in general, and then critiques saying that it's nonsense to extend into eastern LA County the way I do it here. I'll try to address both possible critiques, even if some viewers may still disagree with me. Many of my followers know how transformative a Sepulveda heavy rail line would be in the LA area. Well, the Sepulveda corridor on the 405 has 379,000 vehicles per day. For comparison, that 2-mile confluence between the 57 and the 60 over by Diamond Bar carries nearly that many vehicles daily. An estimated 356,000 vehicles per day. This confluence is the worst truck bottleneck in California, and one of the worst truck bottlenecks in the nation. And traffic along this confluence is expected to grow by 16% in the coming years, meaning that we would be looking at over 410,000 vehicles per day, well more than what the Sepulveda corridor currently handles. My proposed line parallels one of those highways involved in the confluence, which is the 57. If we could get a rapid transit line good enough to reduce reliance on the 57, it could be transformative and possibly reduce traffic a little bit on that confluence. The other transformative thing would be addressing the frankly embarrassing service frequency on Metrolink's Riverside line, as large portions of the Riverside line parallel the 60, the second route that makes up the aforementioned confluence. Combine my proposed line parallel to the 57 with improved Riverside line service that parallels the 60 might do more for traffic than adding additional traffic lanes. As for why I chose this route to be a north-south connection between Orange and LA counties, part of it was to provide an alternative to this hideous highway confluence. But part of it was because this route, despite the fault of it being a bit twisty in portions, connects to some potentially major ridership drivers once you get into LA County, including 2 large commuter schools, the downtown for a city of about 150,000 people, and a hospital with over 4,000 employees. The ridership potential with this portion of the line is quite sizable. While I get why some may prefer a connection between Orange and LA counties to be by way of Harbor Boulevard, that would likely lead us to Azusa Avenue once you get deep into LA County. And, in my opinion, I don't think a Harbor Azusa route in eastern LA County has quite the ridership drivers in the LA County portion that my route does. So, that's my case for this line. Potential controversy and all. But what do you think of this proposed line? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to also like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content on imagining better mass transit in the United States. Thank you and have a good day.